Find that.
Sure.
So what's this place that you just previously mentioned?
Excuse me.
It's a cool place.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, mercy.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
Esblocus. There's the place. Hesperium grae cognomine dicunt.
Bless you.
Excuse me. The Greeks dicunt, call it, they say that it is Hesperia by cognomine, by name, by nickname, if you will. It's a terra antiqua. It's an ancient land. Potanes, armies.
With powerful armies.
Powerful with weapons, right? And ubera gleibai.
And fertile land.
Yeah, and it's potanes, and then you've got two adjectives of respect, armies and ubera. It's powerful or strong in respect to weapons and in respect to the fertility of its gleiba.
Does Virgil describe things with two adjective respect things a lot? Because I feel
Seems like he's done that a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It certainly feels Virgilian, and on the one hand, I'd say that makes a neat article, but on a more practical aspect for you, I think it's a good thing to observe as you're translating, or maybe get on the AP. You just know that this is something this guy tends to do, and so it's going to help you as you pick if you get a passage you haven't seen before or you're unfamiliar with. You're going to say, hey, I kind of know this guy's style. So yeah, he definitely seems to have a preference for that kind of thing. All right, this land called Hesperia. Hesperia really means west. Hesperus means west. Why would the Greeks call Italy the western land? Now, hold on a second. Let's think about it for a moment. Why would the Greeks? Yes, young man sitting in the middle.
It's because it rhymes with best, and Italy is the best land.
Wow, I like that. That's a good thought, and no. But Greek. No, just think about it for a moment. Don't rush an answer. Just really contemplate. Caitlin.
Is it because it's to the west?
Well,
In layman's terms.
yeah. I mean, of course, if you start off in Greece, you probably would want to go east all the way around the world until you came back on the other side, and then really Italy would have been to the east. But
Of course, the world back then was much smaller.
But the world was smaller. The world was
So,
about
that
the
does
size
make
of
sense.
a dodgeball. And, but I mean the one from Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
Oh,
You seen that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Impossible to dodge ball. Yeah, no, it's the western land. Obviously, it's right next door to the west. And Caitlin, Ms. Rand McNally from 2012 is correct. Yes, Caitlin won the. Did you know that she was Miss Rand McNally 2012? She got the award for best map skills.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, this is the worst class we've had.
Oh.
And in terms of learning, guys.
I'm gonna say, go out on a limb here and say no. There have been far worse.
Not know.
You don't know, son. you're new here. But let me
There
tell
were days
you.
where we just didn't get anything done.
What's that?
I feel like there were days where we just didn't get anything done.
Yes,
Like,
let's definitely put that on the video, shall we? Let's talk about that.
Mr. Burt, you got so much done that one day.
Very
And
good.
then nothing on the next.
Potent. Now, I want to tell you something right now. Suddenly, I'm looking at line 531. At least the last 2/3 of it, from potanes through gleibai. And if I were running for president, that would be my slogan, talking about America. A land, potanes, armies, ad quibera gleibai.
Fertile and soil.
That's right. Very we can grow stuff, and we can rain bombs down on your head. You know, I mean, that's what we, you know. look at Brandon, she's like, oh my gosh, did he really just say that? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
So
You
we're
know.
afraid to use our own weapons.
Well, that's it, you know, and you know, you think about that, and certainly, in today, I literally mean this day, actually, we're torn, I think, right? I mean, there's stuff going on worldwide. On one hand, there's a sense in which, you know, hey, we need to retaliate militarily because of, you know, our embassy being attacked, ambassador being killed, and so forth. And then there's also the sense, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to walk around as this international bully, and yes, we do have, you know, this powerful military and so forth. You don't want to just, you know, deliberately flex your muscle and try to intimidate people, you know, which isn't. I'll say this, I've been having this conversation with some other people. Think about for just a moment, if first century, some Egyptians had attacked a Roman outpost, and the reason given was some inflammatory poem written by Virgil. What do you think Augustus's response would have been? It would be invade, exactly right. There would be like, you know, zoom, send the warships over, you know, Cleopatra, who do you think you are, kind of thing, and it would have been.
Plus, he's not too happy with Cleopatra at this moment.
Well, right, exactly. It kind of adds to it,
The
yeah.
best idea on her part.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, you know, it is a complex thing. Now, oinotri coluero wiri, he says. The oinotrian wiri coluera implied this land.
Men cultivate or inhabit.
Oinotrian men, yeah, cultivated or inhabited this land. So there's this place, it's called Hesperia by the Greeks. Okay? It's an ancient land, strong and fertile. A group of men called the Oinotrians settled it or tilled it, cultivated it. And I think there's a note about the Oinotri. Read the note about these folks.
Yes, evidently derived from the Greek word anotria, violent, since groups were much cultivated in Italy.
So another place, another name, ancient name for Italy, besides Hesperia, is also Oinotria. And that may win you some points on Jeopardy someday. And it is connected to a very important, important, but it's a very interesting word. It does come from a Greek word for wine. And do you know what an enophile is?
An alcoholic?
A wine connoisseur. An enophile is a wine connoisseur. And you still see that root there. And so this was good vine country, right? Even back in the ancient world, we still today talk about Italian wines, and back in the ancient world it was known as good vine country. And now, says Virgil, fama minores Italiam dixisse educus deum nomine gentem.
The reputation of the Italian city.
Yeah, well, and now it is the fama. It is, and I know reputation is one translation for fama or definition of fama. Fama. What word is fama coming from?
Fame.
What deponent verb, synonym for dico, we've just been talking about recently. For fari fata, says Rachel. Look at really, you know, for a deponent verb you hadn't really heard of before this year, it has actually given you lots of words that you actually already knew. All right, so you think what's coming out of that? You've got fatum, fate, phos, divine will, nephos, that which is against divine will or pure evil. You've got infans, one who cannot speak, or a baby. And you've got fama, that which is spoken about you. Okay, your fama. And so you can mean, I would say, you know, basically it's almost like we would say the saying goes. You know, this is what people say. The fama is that minores Italiam dixisse ducus de nomine gentem. Yeah, that the descendants, all right, so the people who follow the Oenotrians, the original settlers of Italy, have dixisse, have said or have called it Italian, Italy, from the nomine ducis,
The name of the leader.
from the name of their leader. And you got a side note or footnote here, who is this, or leaders being referenced?
Yes.
It's in the footnote.
Italy is probably related to the word.
Before that, right above that. Italus was a legendary king, okay? So all these places, just like Troy, right? And referring to them as Dardanians, and sometimes as Trojans, and sometimes as people from Ilion. You have all these names, and to keep using them all interchangeably, on the one hand, I think it confuses a modern audience, but at the same time, I think for the ancient person, and even for us, it keeps alive all the rich pieces of this culture and its history. It's the Western land. It is the Vine land. It is sometimes called Italy because of one of its early kings, this guy named Italus. And then Italus himself, as Danielle was getting ready to read, his name itself probably comes from what? A word that means bull. And so maybe Italy's connected for good grazing and so forth. And so all these words are connected. Now, hic cursus fuit, cum subito ad surgens flucto nimbosas Orion in vara caeca tulit penetusque procacibus austris per quunda superante solo per quinvia saxa dispuit. Here, now we kind of lost track of who's speaking here?
Is it narration?
No, no.
Oh!
You too? Yeah. Yeah, Maximus Ilioneus, big old Ilioneus. Right, he's the one who's talking to Dido. And he says, we Trojans, we poor Trojans, 524, we're begging you, help us out here, have a heart. And then he's telling them, they're telling Dido, this is where we're looking to go. He says, there's a place, I don't know if you know about it, it's called Italy. Maybe you've heard about it by its Greek name, Hesperia. You might have also heard it called Oenatria. That's the place where we're looking to go. Yes?
Line 534, is hic cursus fuit. It's just that, it's not,
Yeah, a lot of white space in that line, isn't there?
Yeah.
Somebody read the footnote. Paul?
There are more than 50 such incomplete lines in the Aeneid. One of them marks the unfinished state of the poem at Virgil's death.
One of the, we told you at the beginning, this thing was undone, right? We don't even know if he intended to end it in 12 books, if he intended a little bit more in book 12, did he intend another 12 books? We don't really know. And he said he wanted it burned, right? Because it was unfinished. And lines like this, in some ways, I think the ancient world would not have understood our fascination with this. Why would you be interested in marks of incompleteness? For us, that's a fascinating little thing right there, because it's almost like you're actually seeing Virgil, it's almost seeing his handwriting, right? This is a line that he just did not get a chance to go back and finish. A chance to see one of Michelangelo's original sketches, for example, before he actually did the Sistine Chapel, maybe and see what he initially planned or something. We love that kind of stuff because it really gives us a deep or closer picture into the history of the thing. So yeah, there's a lot of these.
So
We know that he would have come back and filled that in somehow.
Okay, so I guess my question is, when translating that sort of thing, you just keep going?
Sometimes it works just fine, and with the rest of what's coming, as this one does,
Yeah.
I think. Sometimes it doesn't, and you kind of have to hem and haw or fudge around a little bit. But this one I think works pretty well.
Yeah, I know this one was fine. I was just wondering, so it was obviously it's meant for something to go there, so it's
Right.
so it's obviously kind of in his mind not related.
Maybe not related, or I know I want to say something about the curses here.
Oh, okay.
And I just don't, I'm not quite sure how to round out that line, but I'm going to keep on going. And and so forth. So he says, it says Ilionius to Dido. He says, hic cursus fuit.
Here a curse is made.
Now, not here, because it's not hic, it's
So
hic.
this curse.
This was our cursus. Now, not curse. Course. This was our course. This was where we were going. Okay? Cum subito. And like I say, that one really does just kind of flow into the next part here. He says, this was our course. Yeah, Rachel.
Sorry, this may not make any sense, but like we were reading poetry last year. Sometimes the breaks were intentional because when you read it aloud, they wanted to take a break.
You talking about in our class or in English class?
No, in English.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just wondering if you would ever do that.
Or if he was just stuck to his.
Can you say a little bit more about that? I think I'm tracking with you, but say a little bit
I
more.
forget what it's called, but like in the really early poetry with the Anglo-Saxons, they would have, if they were gonna recite it, they would like, it was kind of phrasing, and then they would just take a break and breathe and then keep going.
Oh, built in, almost like breath breaks.
It's possible.
Yes. That's not what this is. That's definitely not what this is, because it's not a full hexameter line. Yes, and to a certain extent, I'm going to say it's a little bit above your pay grade. This is getting pretty heavy now into, I'd say, a good college level class. Even within a particular line of poetry, there are natural breaks, and there's something called a caesura. I doubt that you've read across that in English, but you may have read it. Caesura. And there's also something called diaeresis. And I do always get them backwards though. One of them is when the break occurs in the middle of the foot, and one of them when the break occurs at the end of the foot. I forget which is which. But at any rate, there are natural breaks within the line of poetry for Latin poetry and for Greek poetry as well. There is what we would call the English pronunciation of the word enjambment. Do you know what an enjambed line means? E-N-J-A-M-B. It's where the line really just flows over into the next line. So it doesn't really end stop, we say. It doesn't, the sense does not stop at the end of the line, but actually really does flow over into the next line. So there are breaks naturally built in. The critique that Pope made in his preface to his translation of the Iliad, he made a critique that has kind of come to stand alone. This one sentence that Pope said. You're kidding.
Right, it's supposed to end early because of the.
Oh, shut that off. Well, I want to say